All right, guys, welcome back to Grid Gym. I have Jody Connacher here. That's not how her name looks, but that's how it is. Total doozy. All right, Jody, can you give the Grid Gym tribe a little bit of background on you, your time in the industry? I know
Yeah.
like nutrition, personal trainer, like kinesiology degree, physical education degree. You've been doing this for like a good dose of time that
And
you've been on the line, let's say, and now you're on to new things. Can you give them a little background on you?
thanks, Adam. Absolutely. So yes, I know it's shocking that I've done all that stuff and I'm only 21. It's crazy. Started really young. So thank you so much, first of all, for having me on the show. I'm just really grateful to be here and just hopefully have a really good conversation that your audience will love and get some good stuff from. So a little bit about me is, we've been in this industry for my entire life, basically. So I started playing volleyball when I was young. I ended up playing Division I volleyball in college, which led me to, it was very fun experience, which just led me down the road of wanting to stay in fitness. I understood like how good it made me feel, understanding how the body started to work and what I could do with it and like just changes you can make just really intrigued me. And I love seeing transformation. So I got my degree in kinesiology and physical education. And then I went on to be a personal trainer. I actually trained Miss Maine USA for Miss USA's. Yep. It was so much fun doing that. And that's where I was like, oh God, this is my calling. Like, done, we got this. So I thought. So I started training, and which was for about 4 to 5 years. In that, I loved it. But I just wasn't, I was like, you know what, I'm missing out on something. Like there's just a piece, there's an element that's not there for me. So I switched over to nutrition because I could study it all day and night. So I was in the nutrition field and had a nutrition business for about 9 years and absolutely love it. To me, it's like, that's where the magic happens, is because if we aren't feeding our body really good stuff and understanding how it works and knowing how to go in seasons with things, I mean, it's like, then you're constantly battling something. So that's where I really have a very big passion about, we got one body to live in, we got to make it real good. Right. And then outside of that is mindset. So I've been doing a lot of mindset coaching in the last about 3 years. I've really like ramped it up in that area because it intrigues me so much. And it's kind of a full circle of being in this industry for good, 15 years.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy if you're only 21. No, I know. Like adding up the years, I have no idea how old you are, but like adding up the years there, I'm like, wow, she looks really good for her age.
Thank you. I am 33 and 34 is coming up here in a couple months.
Yeah. That's funny you say that because like same. Mine's coming up in about a month.
Oh, I'm
33. And
I'm gonna go backwards. So if anyone asks me next year, I'm turning 32.
Yeah, you might as well.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Benjamin Button it. So like I think there's some really interesting parallels there because like that's kind of how it went for me too. Like I got into strength and conditioning, and then nutrition was like obviously something that if you really want to be great at strength and conditioning and you really want to help a lot of people, then you have to look at nutrition, and then getting people to actually adhere to the thing and getting yourself to do the thing and to continue on with your vocation. You have to get into the whole like trip your mind into a new state so that you can continue all the things and get their head wrapped around a new idea. And so it's really interesting to hear that to hear your story and how far you've gone with it. What is your kind of like, what mediums of exercise and nutrition, and I don't know if there's really mediums of mindset until you get into like the really deep level psychology stuff, but what do you most enjoy? Like what's your go-to for exercise?
For exercise? Well, see, it's a very complex question.
I know I went a lot of different, like,
that's okay.
You can't let me go on tangents.
I'll
all your fault.
We're staying right in here. Blinders up. When it comes to exercise, I treat my exercise the same way I treat my nutrition, and I do it in seasons. So my season right now that I'm in is heavy lifting and intermittent fasting and high intensity cardio. So that's where I'm at right now. I am in a season where I'm looking to gain more lean muscle and whatnot. And then usually when it comes into the summer, I always find myself going a little less hard in the gym when it comes to the amount of time that I have. And so I like to weave in some hot classes, a lot of hot Pilates. It's kind of like a boot camp class in a hot room on steroids. Like, it's really bizarre that I would do this, especially living in Las Vegas where it's 115 degrees. Makes
where you're already
absolutely no
off.
sense.
Yeah.
Sweating my ass off. But it's a part of an acclimation part as well with the temperature. Yeah. So it's, again, it ebb and flows in the season. And so right now my medium is cardio and weightlifting for the most part.
Cool. Nice. What's your favorite lift? Like, what do you get into?
Well, I actually,
water, you're bencher.
Funny enough, abs are my absolute favorite exercise to do. Yeah. For some reason, it does not matter how painful it gets. I'm like, no, keep going. So I would say abs and glutes are my two favorite areas that I'm always like, doesn't matter about the pain, just go.
Sure. Yeah. So is that what you're kind of looking for right now? Is kind of like that more fatigue kind of medium where you're trying to get a heavy burn to get that catalyst to make the muscle grow?
Yeah. Definitely.
Are you trying to get a schneck, like no shoulder, no neck, just build it up?
100%. Yeah, I mean, you don't know what I did before this, but there might have been some steroid action. Like, I'm trying to get juiced up. Totally kidding. Really not.
Hey, it'd be all right with me. You wouldn't be the first person I met that does steroids. But I would be surprised that you didn't have a mustache.
I shaved it before.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
No, yeah, I am definitely trying to maintain that womanly, feminine, sexy but strong physique for sure.
Yeah, that's what is the strong is the new skinny or whatever.
Yes.
The new saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. And then when it gets into nutrition, so you're in a bulk phase, and most people get, especially in the female side, you mentioned that, and they're like, I don't want to do that. So what's your perspective there?
I think you have to be willing to get outside your comfort zone if you want change.
Sure.
And you have to trust the people that have paved the way before you, but be willing to also, put in your own little uniqueness to it, or basically stay up to date on the current sciences as well of what's going on. So yeah, I mean, trust me, when it's 6:30 at night and I got a meal that is like got carbs and all this food that I'm looking at, I'm like, someone's going to have to roll me into bed. Like, I don't know how I'm going to fit all this food in my belly.
Sure.
And then I'm like, just think about my goal. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I just think about being hungry, and I'm like, yeah, we're going to make room. We got this. So it is difficult, but it's not every day that I'm eating, a lot of that food. On the days where I'm not heavy lifting, I'm not eating as much. So kind of talk myself through it day by day. And that's what I think it is for people. When I teach mindset stuff, yes, the big picture is daunting, and the full entire day could be daunting. Yeah. But when we break it down to one meal at a time, one exercise at a time, then you're like, you know what? I got this. So I'm all about the bite-sized actions. Yeah. No pun intended on that one.
It works. It works.
And I find that just gives me the results, but it also gives, every client that I've worked with, help give them better results when they decide to flip that little switch for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And you kind of mentioned it there too. Do you think, apparently you go to you try to become very conscious of the decisions you're making before you eat. And then it sounds like you tied it back to the reason why do you think that that's something that you've built as you've gone along, or do you think that's something that you just have inherited mindset-wise?
So this actually is something I taught myself, and through a part of my life that I went through. And so I'll share it because it really helps a lot of people. So when I was in college, I ended up becoming bulimic. And that was, it was a control thing. And I gained weight in college. And long story short, that's something that I went through. And it was so painful because it would mess up my stomach. And I started to notice that anytime I ate, I would have an upset stomach. And I'm like, this just isn't working. Like, dude, it's not even cool. And I regret and I feel out of control, and I feel I have this anxiety. And I was so sick of feeling like that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to change this. How am I going to change this? Well, before I make any decisions, I'm going to think about how I want to feel afterwards.
Yeah.
And so I just started taking this approach that I just taught myself. I'm like, okay, afterwards, after I eat, I want to feel really good.
Yeah.
So before I eat, what am I going to do that's going to get me there?
Yeah.
And I would just start making decisions on food and choices, workouts, all that stuff that would give me that fulfilling feeling and have zero regret, where I wouldn't have to be in my head. And so it was amazing. I just, again, one meal at a time, I decided to make a choice that felt really good while I was eating it, that tasted good and was satisfying, and then made me feel good. Yeah. And then would wake up the next day and I'm like, I made it through. That wasn't so bad. Now I feel great. And I started teaching that to my clients because people would we get in our head when it comes to things. And so I just, before, during, and after, I'm like, you got to break it down before you do anything. Think about how you're going to feel after, before you get into that during phase and make a decision that you're going to regret. Yeah,
totally. There's so much to unpack in what you just said. Like you could write a case study just on that. I think it's it's extremely powerful for one. Like you took full responsibility for your circumstance. And then at the same time, by becoming consciously aware of it, then you decided to ask questions. How am I going to feel after? Make the plan to actually feel good. And then through the act of that courage, you gave yourself freedom.
It's incredibly liberating, I will say. Yeah. And I just find, thank you so much. I find a lot of women can always kind of relate to that because we're in our head all the time. We're thinking about how our body looks and how it feels and how our clothes fit. And we have so much going on that for me, the last thing we need is just to be stuck in here and not seeing everything else that's going on around us.
Well, there's a big world to experience, right? Like food is one of our greatest pleasures. Like you should probably, enjoy what you're, enjoy the experience and everything. Yeah. So,
exactly. So
I just that much of it.
It is. It's so true. But I just find it's made my life a lot more easier, where I enjoy everything that I do so much more. I enjoy the tough workouts because I know that what I'm working towards, I enjoy the moments where I'm relaxing and I don't have to get in my head thinking, oh, I didn't do enough. It's like, no, I followed the plan. It felt good. I feel good and I'm proud of myself and I don't have to stay up here. I just, get to put my energy elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're looking at exercise, like really, it's not enjoyable. Like, why are we doing it?
Yeah.
We're doing our future self a favor.
Yeah.
Exactly. How much of it do you think comes down to just giving yourself that, like pushing yourself to do that momentary discomfort in order to get that long-term gain?
It's everything. And so I personally, I love working out in general, right? And I think that's not a lot of people are going to say that. But when it comes to me just going to the gym on my own, do I push myself as hard as if I have a trainer telling me what to do?
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't. And I'm super honest about that. Like, yes, I'm really fucking gung-ho. If you saw me in the gym, you'd be like, she's crazy. She goes hard. But
you even almost gave me the shooter there.
But I like when it comes to a gym, I love having a trainer personally because when someone is holding me accountable, I work hard for them. And I'm like, like they believe in me. They're putting their time and energy into me. I'm going to give my time and energy back to them because the person that benefits is me. Right. So I love to do things where it's instructor oriented. Personally. So when like Orange Theory classes, classes like what you guys do, I think you guys do classes, correct?
We do. We do everything's small groups so that it can be very intimate's the wrong word. That sounds really weird. So there's a lot of attention to detail.
Definitely. And so for me, that's how I get to that place where I'm like, no, one more rep. No, just go a little bit harder. Look at that person next to me. Shit, they're going ham. I'm going to keep up with them. Or I might notice the person next to me, I know that they have more. So maybe I'll step it up a notch and give them the encouragement to go a little bit harder. So for me, that uncomfortability is so not fun, but that's where the change happens.
Yeah.
And it's a two-sided street. It's a mental thing. It's like, no, I can do this. I can do this. Mm-hmm. And then it's having that having that accountability next to me of do it for them.
Yeah. Everything changes when you have somebody to answer to.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everything changes. And some people think like, I don't want to put that much pressure on myself, but it's like, you want to leverage pressure upon yourself as much as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
Because the pressure is what's going to push you to do all the things.
And then, another part about that I always think I use for a mindset tool is like, okay, when it burns really, really, really bad and you don't want to do it, then I'm like, wait, this is probably only 5 more seconds of my life.
Right.
I could do anything for 5 seconds. I could do anything for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like when I chunk it down, I'm like, no, we got this. Yeah. So I'll do that. Like I'll do those little mindset tricks while I'm working out and I want to cry and give up. I'm like, I can do anything for 5 seconds. I can do this. I can do this. Just 5 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like if you have a minute of something, you're like, that's like 3:20. That's like 20 seconds, 3 sets of 20 seconds.
I'm not kidding. I break it down like that.
Yeah. It's like riding a bull 5 times. It's wait, did I do the math there? That's 40 seconds, but you get what I mean.
8 seconds I thought was riding a bull, but we'll go with 40 seconds.
8 seconds. Yeah. 8. Well, like I said 5 times 8 seconds. And
okay.
Like, wait,
got
that's
it.
not 60.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, I'm totally following now.
Bad math on my part. The concept was there, but, so what have you found since like taking on some of these new mindset challenges? Like, is it something that you just all of a sudden had this big epiphany and you haven't grown since, or is it something that you just piece off day by day and continue to learn?
I think it's kind of like life. As we grow, we just learn more things. And for me, constantly working on my mindset, I will work on my mindset every single day until the day I die. I never know it all. I'm always a student to that. So yes, I've learned things on my own along the way, which is super awesome. And I've, got to test them out on other people, and some things stick and some things last for 2 days. It was this amazing idea. And then it was like, it wasn't that good. But a lot of it is I learn, I read books, I listen to podcasts. I'm always doing something to grow my mind. And maybe it's, it could be something has to do with business, but I can always transfer it back into how it works for fitness, for nutrition. And I think the same way that we can view businesses, that we can view something like being a parent, even like you constantly are learning new tricks. Like we can use that for fitness and we can use that for nutrition. And so it's taking that same concept, that same skeleton, and just placing it in those different areas of your life when it comes to it. But it really is all mindset. You got to have the mind in place to be able to achieve any goal that you want in the gym and with your health and with your body. Yeah.
And do you think that is that a skill that has kind of grown for you to be able to think in concepts like that so that you can apply them to other things?
Definitely.
I think that's an extremely difficult thing for not just for me, but for everybody. We kind of tend to get lost in the details instead of just thinking conceptually. Yeah,
it's trust me, there's days where I'm like, I got this together, and other days I'm like, I don't got it. But
yeah. Well, speaking of that, what's your favorite kind of recovery is a medium that a lot of people like to leave out, right? And that's where all the magic happens, right? Like you don't actually lose weight when you're doing the exercise. You lose weight in the recovery process, or get stronger, or do all this developmental stuff. What's your kind of go-to R&R?
Number one is sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep is my biggest thing. So aside from sleep, though, I love saunas, like infrared saunas. Sure. Yeah. I love to do cryotherapy. I incorporate cryotherapy usually into my weekly routine. But where you guys are at, you just go outside and run around naked, and free cryotherapy. You're fine.
Yeah, that's basically what's going on here right now.
Foam rolling is I love foam rolling, and then really it's just listening to my body, like just taking it easy, and knowing when to rest the body. But I would say that those sleep is the biggest one, and then
When
those
you
three
say
after.
take it easy, do you mean like on a day where you kind of feel like, is it like that you just take the entire day off and you don't work out, or you still show up, do a warm up, and then maybe decide?
So here's what I do is I have put in place a protocol that I do just about 7 days a week.
Okay.
And that is first thing in the morning is steady state cardio.
Okay.
And it's nothing super extreme. It might be a walk outside.
Sure.
It might be cruise on the elliptical, not breaking a sweat and reading a book or
Got it.
checking my emails, something like that. That is something that I started doing probably 12, 13 years ago. And I just never stopped doing it. So
Sure.
it makes me feel really good. I don't count it as a workout. I just count it as part of my active lifestyle.
Yeah.
So when it comes to those rest days, I'm not a person that thinks that we just need to sit on the couch or lay in bed and veg out and do absolutely nothing and don't move all day. I think the body needs motion.
Yeah.
In spurts of, laying down, watching a movie,
Sure.
whatnot.
Nothing wrong with laying down and
Absolutely.
watching a movie, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's perfectly fine.
No, not at all. But I personally believe the body needs some kind of movement, even on an off day, or some kind of sweat. So if I'm not going to do that morning, fasted cardio where I'm just getting my body like warmed up for the day and my mindset right, an infrared sauna is like perfect for that, because then I am getting a sweat. My body's doing something.
Sure.
And it's still recovering.
Yeah.
And
I don't you're getting
feel
the blood flow. You're getting, you're moving stuff around. I can see.
I'm still getting that like euphoric feeling that we get post workout of like, that felt awesome.
Like, I'm glad I did that. Yeah. Right.
So that's how I do my recovery phases.
Cool. Nice. And then where do we have to go from now? And then so you're kind of more, in terms of the coaching that you do, you're more of a lifestyle coach, right?
Yeah.
And can you kind of explain that just a little bit?
Yeah, we were saying that like, there's just not really a title for it.
Right.
Where I'm at, I'll probably come up with something real fancy and then I'll let you know. But it's really, it's because I'm not just nutrition, fitness, mindset. I love those things, but for me, living in a life that you love has different areas. And so I have a brand that I will be coming out. My website's actually being built right now, but it's about living a committed lifestyle. And so that's why I kind of call myself a lifestyle entrepreneur in a way, because I am giving people the tools, the tips, the things that I've learned that have helped me achieve greatness in my health, in my fitness, in my mind, and in my happiness, where I'm just like, I wake up and I'm like, I'm in fucking love with you. Like, looking at myself, I'm like, I'm in love with you. You're doing really good. Where I'm at that point where I'm like, I want that for people. I want them to be proud of themselves, even if they're not where they want to be, because we're never going to be where we want to be. That's the real shit right there. So it's about being okay with where you're at. And that is my message, is like, let's get committed to doing the things that make us feel great about ourselves and continually motivated to move forward.
Yeah. No, that sounds pretty similar. I mean, I think I'm even, that's the question that we ask all the time is, I don't know if you see it, but it's, are you going to be all in today, or are you going to be afraid not enough today? And it's just like, and the all in is really like almost like, it depends on how you define the word love. So we stay away from the word love because it's kind of loaded. But it's like, are you going to be all in with you today? Because even on your worst day, you can still do your absolute gut wrenching best.
Yep.
It's just like, if you have the flu, it's your best with the flu, but it's not like your wimp out best. It's like, or your cop out best. It's like, no, it's the absolute best that you can do is a pretty scary thing.
It is. And you have to be okay with, you know what, yesterday I did so good, but today I just am like, I'm not all the way there. And you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm going to give my best in this and like really, truly give your best.
Yeah. And then your best is always getting better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that.
Pretty cool. Thanks.
I like your shirt.
Thanks.
Sweet.
Maybe I'll send you one when I get to the gym. So like, where do you think that this is one of the questions I wanted to ask you, is like, where do you think that you're an ambitious person, right? You would call yourself pretty ambitious.
A little bit.
You seem a little bit. Where do you think that your ambition comes from?
Well, I think a lot of it stemmed from volleyball,
Okay.
because we were constantly working towards something,
Sure.
and and it was like, you can't give up in the gym when your girl's next to you. We're doing plank holds for like 5 minutes, and
Right.
one girl's dying, and you're like, get it together, And so
Yeah.
I was always like, it just kind of put me in a place where I always wanted to do my best.
Yeah.
And then once I stopped playing volleyball, I was like, well, what am I supposed to do now? Like, what am I working
Yeah.
towards? It's what it felt like. And so I constantly was needing something to work towards. And I realized that is what makes us feel successful in life, is when we are working towards a goal.
Yeah.
So if you're not working towards a goal, you probably feel very dead inside.
Yeah. It's probably,
And
it's probably hard to get up and get moving in your day.
you're kind of like, why? What's the point?
What would be what would be the point? If you had no
Yeah.
meaning in your life, what would be the point?
What would be the point? And that's something I just progressively have, learned, and has solidified more in my mind each day. But that's where my ambition stems from, is like, hey, I get one shot on this earth, in this body.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be a tree the next time around, like, or who knows what will happen. Yeah. I just know right here, right now is happening. And I want to show up at the end of my life and be able to say, you fucking rocked it. You didn't get it all done, but you knew you were never going to get it all done. But you had a hell of a time, hitting goals, having upsets, going through all that stuff, and making great memories along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And even with that, like, I'm going to guess that your things, whatever your goals, your whatever, like you saying, like, you knew you weren't going to get them, but like you set them so high that it was just like, how could I ever possibly? Is that what you mean?
Well, it actually kind of means just like, when I say we're never going to get it all done, is when it's like a to-do list.
Yeah.
We have a to-do list, and you're like, okay, when I get this to-do list done, then I'm going to do this. Well, that to-do list never slows down.
Yeah. Because if anything, it speeds up.
You're like, where did all this shit come from?
Yeah. Because the more you do, the more you can do.
Yeah. Exactly. So I kind of think of life like that, where I've accepted, I'm like, okay, my to-do list is never going to be blank, which saying my to-do list is all the things that I want to accomplish in life. Yeah. I'm never going to be like, I've accomplished it all, I'm done, I'm going to sit back and relax. Like,
that would be so weird. I know that there are people out there like that they just want that, and that's fine. Like, no judgments, but like my insides would just like, I just fall to pieces.
I agree. For me, that feels unfulfilling, but I might change my mind about that when I get, when I'm like 120. I might be like, I'm just going to kind of kick back right now for a little bit.
Sure.
And I'll change my mindset and my thoughts on that when I get there. But right now, this is where I'm at, knowing that I am going to do everything I can to get one step closer to my goals each day. And be totally okay with the fact that if I've aimed so high for something and I don't achieve it, that's okay. Like, just keep working towards it, and be so proud of yourself for the progress that you made, because any progress is progress, and that's something to be proud of.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think it's easy for us to get beat up, to kind of beat up on it, because we're all our own worst critic. Yeah. Name 5 things you don't like about yourself. I bet you can do it in 30 seconds, but name one thing that you love about yourself, and it's like, oh shit.
Right.
Yeah. So it's easy for us to beat up on our own progress, but at the same time, when you really start looking at it, like, who cares if you win an inch or you win a mile? You went somewhere.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that's big for this whole fitness industry, is we are so hard on ourselves, and we're very judgmental and self-critical, and we might show otherwise on the outside, but sometimes it's the people in this fitness industry that maybe don't have the most self-confidence.
Yeah.
Or, what I mean?
The reason why we got into it in the first place, right?
Exactly. Or they might feel like they're never enough. And for me, it's like,
yeah. 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 Oh, shoot. Oh, no.
There we go.
We cut out there, but you're back. Keep going with what you're saying because that was so good.
Once we just accept who we are and know that we're working hard and we become enough, does our life just flourish in every area. So I think the gym is a beautiful outlet for people to understand what it takes to increase self-confidence, to decrease comparison, and to be able to understand what living a beautiful life looks like. When you can push yourself and create that motivation, you're proud of yourself. And when your children see that you're proud of yourself, that shows them that they can be proud of themselves too, that they can be enough, that they can achieve goals. And so I think this industry is so beautiful in what we can teach the people around us, what we can teach ourselves. And it's just something that we should always be aware of and teaching while we're teaching fitness and nutrition. Yeah, no,
I could not agree more. I think like when you're with every rep, you peel back a layer of who you are, right? And you have these infinite layers of you, but at the same time, like the more that you can courageously explore that avenue, the more that you courageously explore yourself.
Yeah,
it's a pretty amazing thing. Makes you a very, very dangerous individual. I mean, danger in like a good way, not a
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Danger, Jody.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You're very dangerous, Jody.
Really, I'm so not. I always tell people, I'm like, you don't see this halo over my head right now? It's right there.
That's funny that you say that because people tell me that I have the look of the devil. So,
well, then
I think they say it as a compliment. But, what's that?
I could be your opposite today.
Yeah.
But no, that is for you working in the gym. You kind of need to be that.
Funny thing is, like, I think apparently I've gotten this feedback enough times now that I'm this big intimidating guy. I'm like just a huge teddy bear. It's just, it couldn't be any more opposite. It's really funny, but
it's all perception, I guess, right?
It is. Yeah. But no, I couldn't agree with you more on getting into kind of like having the courage to dig in to kind of express and explore who you really are. Strength conditioning is and exercise just in general is a great medium to do it. So it's very powerful.
Proud of you for doing what you're doing. It's super cool.
Thanks. I'm proud of you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
The more the good message that we can put out there, the better.
Absolutely.
Where can people follow you?
So Instagram is my biggest platform right now. And so you guys can follow me at Jody Connacher. It's a total doozy to spell it, but
I know you should almost, maybe. Yeah. I don't know what to do there.
I know it's really tough, but if you go to Adam's Instagram, then you'll find me following him. So that might be the best place, but Jody with a Y, I'm on there. That's where I do everything right now. I do have a website coming. As soon as that's up and running, you guys will see the link in my bio. Facebook, I'm actually not so much on there, but you can always go back and look at all my nutrition stuff from before if you need any motivation or tips. It's all on there, but that's where I'm at right now. It's where I'm just
really all living. Down here and
it's
it's all over here.
Yep, just like that. I know, cool. I do weird things with my hands, but so that's where you guys can find me. There'll be a newsletter and whatnot coming out too. So once that's up and running, you guys are more than welcome to subscribe. And then hopefully once my podcast gets started, I will have you on.
You better start it.
I know.
Go for it.
Yes.
Just say that was great. All right, guys, she is Jody Connacher, and it's at Jody Connacher, but it's Connacher.
That's it.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, guys, go follow her. And thanks for being here.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great day. Bye.